our kitchen now. Fuck me.
Itong si Super Typhoon Odette dito sa Surigao City.
Lord, maawa ka. Woo! Dito ka lang! Diyan ka lang! Diyan ka lang! Diyan ka lang! Dito ka sa gilid! Hala, nangabali ng mga kahoy nito asuan, pulo. Hallelujah, glory to God. No! Hallelujah, praise the Lord. Thank you, Lord. Tabaho.
Kami inilak, kami isinggit, kami
Typhoon Odette makes its second landfall over Cagyanao, Dinagat Islands.
So, sa kaalaman lahat ay nakatatlong landfall na nga po itong bagyong si Odette, no? At kaninang alas 4, ito ay nasa may bandang coastal waters na ng San Ricardo, Southern Leyte.
Halos mag-zero visibility na dahil sa lakas ng hangin. Ang ginagawa ko, nagtatago na lang ako dito sa likod ng tricycle na ito para hindi ako tangayin ng hangin. Ang nakakatakot dito,
Kita ang malaking pinsala ng bagyong Odette sa munisipalidad ng President Carlos P. Garcia sa isla ng Pitogo sa Bohol. 70% ng mga bahayang nawasak.
Around 10 o'clock ng gabi, muli pong nag-landfall si Bagyong Odette sa Karkar, Cebu.
Or they expect that the number is still rising, no? Considering that may mga missing persons pa and there are certain areas pa.
dito sa may Palawan area o sa Sulusi, papuntang Palawan area at lalabas ng landmass over the West Philippine Sea ngayong araw.
Typhoon Rai, known in the Philippines as Typhoon Odette, was a powerful and catastrophic tropical storm that struck the Philippines. It entered into the Philippine area of responsibility on December 14, 2021 and rapidly intensified into a Category 5 cyclone or super typhoon within hours before making a landfall, packing up winds of up to 235 kilometers per hour. It made 9 landfalls between December 16 and 17 in the provinces of Dinagat Islands, Surigao del Norte, Southern Leyte, Bohol, Negros Oriental, Palawan, and in our island of Cebu. It started to get gloomy on the morning of December 16. The sky was overcast, bringing light rain and winds that intensifies later in the day. As the night unfolded, rain began to pour furiously. The sound of trees violently swaying against the gushing winds, coupled with lightning, made me start to worry as to what awaits. While storms typically make landfall in the southern part of Luzon and the eastern part of the Visayas, Typhoon Rai or Odette struck the regions farther down south, which typically do not experience brunt of typhoons. It's been a while since Cebu was battered by a severe tropical storm. The last time we were hit by a storm this magnitude was in 1984 by Typhoon Itang. And in 1990 by Typhoon Ruping. And all was a faded memory as I was so young that time, aging 8 and 17 respectively. Our country, the Philippines, is vulnerable to natural hazards due to the archipelago's location along the path of tropical storms brewing in the Western Pacific Basin and the Ring of Fire. We are located just above the equator and lie in the most tropical cyclone-prone waters, directly facing the Pacific Ocean with little else to absorb the energy of storms brewing before they hit land. Our country also sits on what the scientists refer to as the warm pool in the Western Pacific, which has the water temperature of 28 degrees Celsius, a perfect temperature the typhoon needs to get going. Storms are fueled by the warm tropical waters. This warm sea surface temperature mean water is evaporating into the atmosphere, loading a storm with more energy. Evaporation of warm water fuels these disastrous storms, which are known as hurricanes, cyclones, and typhoons, depending on where they are formed. Storms that form in Indian Ocean, a separate basin in the Western Pacific, they are known as cyclones. If it forms in the Atlantic Basin, which include the Atlantic Ocean, Caribbean Seas, Gulf of Mexico, Eastern Pacific Ocean, and Central North Pacific Ocean, it is called hurricanes. If it hovers over the Northwest Pacific Ocean, usually East Asia, which include Taiwan, Japan, China, and our country, the Philippines, it is called typhoon. The word typhoon originally comes from the Chinese word tai, meaning strong, and feng, meaning wind. There are 5 classifications of tropical cyclones according to PAGASA, or Philippine Atmospheric Geophysical and Astronomical Services Administration. First is the tropical depression, followed by the tropical storm, severe tropical storm, typhoon, and super typhoon, in which Typhoon Rai or Odette is considered, packing a maximum sustained winds of 195 kilometers per hour and a gustiness of 260 kilometers per hour. Later in the night, intense winds shook our roof furiously, leaving me think that soon it will go. Everything went dark as the power supply expectedly went off. We heard loud cracks as our trees in the front yard toppled down. Corrugated metal sheets on rooftops clapped like cymbals. And within minutes, the phone signal dropped. Listening to the winds howl to its full extent felt like eternity, and we prayed hard that it would soon subside. We were left trembling in fear in the dark, uncertain of what might happen next.
Grabe. Urot ang dambis. Urot. Oh my God. Oh.
I woke up in the morning the following day with a different landscape outside my window. When the storm abated, we saw the destruction it had caused. The storm was labeled as Category 4 in our area and the 15th that hit the Philippines this year.
Charlie, nahadlo ka gabi, Charlie. Thank you, Mama Mary. Senior Santo Niño, thank you. Oh, it's blocking the way. Oh my God.
I went downstairs to check the severity of the situation, and I was so glad to find out that only some of the trees fell down and no roofs were ripped, nor wires or lampposts broken.
Grabe ang damage ni Odette. Hala, nga atong light, Lyle. Natangtang. Ang lamppost to, naitagakan sa sanga. Grabe, balik tanan.
We started to clear the debris with the help of some of our neighbors. Di akong gikuha ang vine. Save pa ng vine. Very good. Okay. Ay. Balinday. Busy kay mi day. Ikaw din na makagray ng Ray na kordapya. Balin dito ka. Dito. Dali. Huy. Ano ka, way batas. Huy. Balin dito ba? Dala. Dilan.
Pwede din nilanggam dito.
Kuha na daw ngay, dugay na. Overnight, the typhoon left thousands of families homeless, shivering in the cold December night following its massive destruction. The strongest storm to hit Cebu in more than 30 years, and the third ever strongest recorded storm in the Northern Hemisphere. Many people were displaced who needs temporary shelter and assistance to rebuild their homes. While houses made from light materials were hit the hardest, Odette or Typhoon Rai was so strong at landfalls that it also destroyed and damaged houses and buildings built by concrete. SM City parking area. This is the terminal of the My Bus. Tara na ikos gubat. Hindi pa nagdait. Tugmok mga poste nila diri. Wala. Oh my God. Na ang fast hotel. City Park. Grabe sa ilang mga poste. Uy. Suko diri. Uy. Nakurukit sila. Uy. Wala. Uy. Grabe. Wala. Suka-suka sa hangin diri nakita mo. Magulo. Grabe ka sila poste guba diri. Garbage. Pating daghana. Daghana poste. Uy. Loh. Urot yun lang poste diri. Bro, talisay. Kanya. Isa ka na siya mga offices sa taas.
Yung mga light tower.
Light tower. Scenes of destruction were reminiscent of Super Typhoon Haiyan or Yolanda, which hit the Philippines in November of 2013 with powerful winds and enormous storm surge that smashed buildings, destroyed roads, and caused widespread power and water outages. Life slowed down in the days following Odette. Running errands that used to take minutes, like buying from convenience stores or groceries, or withdrawing cash in ATM machines, now took hours to wait. Shortage of food and potable water quickly became an issue. Fuel became a much-needed commodity. People lined up for hours to get the much-needed gasoline, as people need to travel to buy essentials for consumption and to repair their damaged homes. Every storms are predicted and announced ahead of time so that people can somehow get everything set. But sadly, most people were not prepared for this anticipated brutal storm and were too complacent, including us.